Hello, everybody. What's up? Hope you guys can hear me. I'm Jay with Guilty of Crime, and we're back, guys. Happy Monday. If you guys had the day off today, I don't know. I don't know what's going down. It's different days. Columbus Day. They don't celebrate that anymore, y'all. Not here. So come on in. Do me a favor. Hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't. Get a membership if you can. Now, I hope everybody that rolls in here either knows about the case. If you don't know about the case, well, guess what, guys? Breaking news right now. A press conference just came in on this case, and this case has been getting to me all weekend long. All right, all weekend even though I wasn't streaming, I was looking at and finding articles and social media, etc., for Jacqueline Torres, Mimi Jacqueline Torres, guys, because this little girl that's forever 12 now ended up in a bin on an abandoned property, a body in a bin, guys. And as this case unfolds, we have lots of speculation on who did it, what happened, who the characters are, and why they're not arrested, or why they're arrested now, or who is arrested. So listen, guys, this case is crazy. How did Mimi Torres, they like to call her Mimi, Jacqueline Torres, end up in an abandoned property, not alive, in a bin? How did nobody know she was missing for months? How did her dad, when her biological dad tried to reach out to her mom, didn't get anywhere? How did this continue for so long? It just, I mean, there's so many questions that I need answered here in this case. I'm trying to fix my fade in, fade out. My hair's going in the background. So, welcome, guys. Come on in. I have quite an episode today. So, if you roll in late, just please go back and rewatch what I'm doing, because this case has been unfolding not only all weekend long, but just hours ago, a press conference came out that's going to put into perspective what's happening in this case. So, justice for Jacqueline Mimi Torres, we can call her Mimi. Now, listen, she was a 12-year-old girl found no longer alive inside of a large storage container behind an abandoned house in Connecticut, guys. So, everyone's going to roll in and say, Where? Where did this happen, Jay? When did this happen, Jay? All right. So, where it happened is New Britain, Connecticut. Family members and community mourners have described her as a bright, loving, angel, right? Bright and loving, a little angel, and they call for answers for justice. Now, as a matter of fact, let me just talk about when it happened, because I don't think that we have an exact date. I have a timeline when she went missing, but here's the thing: is nobody, and I say nobody, reported her missing. All right, yeah, Jen Torres. I don't know about that deep, Carrie, but what's up? I don't know that deep into her last name or what have you. But this little girl doesn't, there's not even an exact date. There's no exact date because nobody, and I mean, no, not even her mom, reported her missing. Right. So, I mean, I'm looking at all of these things with the dates and the times, and it's just very, very not specific. Now, listen, her biological dad hadn't seen her before her 12th birthday, January 29th. All right, we're in October. So his daughter's mother had custody, and he hadn't been able to get a hold of her for several months. Then she went missing sometime around her birthday. Doesn't that sound like the whole like David situation? David the singer? Now, as this unfolds, they don't even have a date that she went missing because nobody reported her. However, police responded to an abandoned house with a bin on the abandoned in the back of the house, and they found remains. Now, when they found remains, those remains were identified by her family. So I've got some drama that you're going to see today with the mom, with the aunt, with the family yelling. The mom's yelling at the aunt, "Where's Jacqueline?" Mom's arrested, yelling at her. Everyone's yelling, but nobody's reporting anything. So after we get through this wild introduction that I'm giving today, I'm going to show you some clips before I get into the press conference so that we can see what happened to Jacqueline Torres Why did it happen? Where did it happen? How did it happen? And who are the key players in this? And we're still going to have a lot more questions and answers by the end of this episode. So, Bree, thank you so much for the $5 super sticker. I have my goal set for today. If you guys can hit that like button, it's free to get this episode in the algorithm. And if you want to help support Guilty of Crime, then you can super chat, super sticker, Cash App, PayPal, all that stuff, right? All that. Our goal's up there. Anyway, thank you. Let's jump into this with this. All right. I'm going to jump into this with this article quickly and get your mind thinking. This is not Florida. This is in Connecticut. All right. So let me just read a quick article, and the article is going to have pictures instead of you just staring at the screen without it. This beautiful little angel right here, Jacqueline Torres, ended up unalive in a container in New Britain, Connecticut, on abandoned property. Now, she's 12 years old. Her mom, Carla, never reported her daughter missing after she disconnected from the family. All right. How the heck did Jacqueline Torres end up dead in a container at an abandoned New Britain, Connecticut abandoned home? New clues offer as girl's father, Victor Torres, claims 12-year-old girl's mom, Carla Garcia, had sole custody and she disengaged from the entire family. How does that happen, guys? All right, we're going to be finding out as we go through this episode. All right, new revelations have been unearthed following the tragic discovery of 12-year-old girl whose body was found in a container last week. Right, she had been missing for months. They did not find her body until last week, and the only person that identified her was a family member or family members that have not quite been identified yet. Now I ask you, where is the mom, and why is the mom not reporting her missing? Now listen, 12-year-old girl, mom and boyfriend charged with the capital M. But listen up here. There's a lot going on in this case, guys. It's not that simple. So there is little Jacqueline, or Mimi, with her father. There's her, some younger little pictures there. All right. How did she end up there in a bin? Now, according to Abby Blabby, there's some stuff there. I'm not going to get into all that. There's a lot of things that happened up until until they found her body. The state, father Victor Torres stated not having seen his daughter prior to her 12th birthday on January 29th, guys. We're in October. That's a long time. According to her father, his daughter's mom, Carla Garcia, who we'll see in a bit, had custody of her, with the parent saying she hadn't been able to get a hold of his young daughter for several months. Now, Torres spoke to the news and believes that Mimi went missing around her birthday. Other family members state that they never reported her missing because the mother had completely disconnected from the rest of the family, with family members claiming they had no idea that she was gone at all. Now, of the question is the girl's mother, who was able to keep up the ongoing pretenses of her daughter not appearing at school, and why Connecticut state authorities hadn't sought to further the investigation of the 12-year-old girl's disappearance or abrupt disappearance. All right. So the reason I wanted this article is because I wanted to kind of show you some of the pictures and what we're going to lead up into. All right. There's pictures of her mom. Looks like she's having a good old time with some drinks. And then you see her mom, which we're going to look at in a video, people cussing at her and threatening her, and her being in handcuffs, but it taking such a long time to get the arrest. All right. Emily says, I wonder if the mom's boyfriend was essaying. Well, guess what? Listen, I'm looking at the mom's boyfriend, and it says the mom's boyfriend is deceased now. So that's a whole other mess going on there. All right. There's another whole mess behind the scenes. All right. So New Britain, Connecticut family and community demands answers. Revelations found police in Connecticut discovered human remains in a large container behind an abandoned building and if you guys know Connecticut, it's on 80 Clark Street, and this was last Wednesday afternoon. According to the police department, they were responding to suspicious behavior when they searched the property and found a container along the fence line. Now, authorities secured the scene and requested assistance from the police. While the house was vacant for years, neighbors told the news that police squatted in there. Family later confirmed that the remains of the 12-year-old Jacqueline Mimi Torres was her remains. She was allegedly taken and dumped by her own mother. Come Saturday afternoon, friends and family shared memories, grief, and hopes of healing, which I'm going to show you in a bit. All right. And then there's the remains found, which I'm going to show you next. Will Jacqueline's mom face charges? All right. There's a lot in this case. So please buckle up, hang out, hit that like button. Let's get this in the algorithm. I know it's not the Madeline Soto case. And if it were, there'd be 850 people instead of 85. So please, let's get this out there. Right? Good to see some people that I've never seen. Shy Turtle, Marissa, Mary Joy, I've seen you. Good to see you, MM Clark, Indy Isham. All right, now, they beg to ask this question. Will Jacqueline Torres' mom face charges? All right, now, Stephanie Sandoval, a resident, told the outlet, I lived in New Britain all my life and we moved to this street. It's safe, it's quiet. So to hear something unfathomable like this is heartbreaking, especially to the Hispanic community, guys, right? Especially what we're going through right now as a country. This just wasn't needed. It's a baby. It's somebody's baby. All right. Now, in the interim, family and community demand answers and accountability, which is what we're going to do right now together. All right. We're going to demand more answers and more accountability and find out what happened, as well as watch a presser. But first, before we watch a presser, I got to get into the nitty gritty of the case. Who's who, what's what, who's connected to who, what's what. Is the mom's boyfriend actually deceased? He was supposed to be charged with the big capital M as well. So coming in, I don't think as much as I want to say leave children alone, I think we need something a little harder than that, because nowadays it's parents taking the lives of their own children and letting their boyfriends, husbands, whatever, men assault their children. And if they're not letting a man assault their children, they're doing it themselves. So let's find out what happened and get into the details. All right. All right. Thank you for being here today. Come on in. I can talk with you a little more in chat when I'm not reading. So let's go.
A really tough news day today. Police say they're working around the clock, piecing together this timeline leading up to the girl's remains being discovered in a container in the backyard of an abandoned home. Investigators are not saying much right now, but asking for the public's patience.
Yeah, your reporter Dylan Fearon live outside the home on Clark Street after receiving some new information from the girl's father.
Now, listen, guys, this is all going to come together. So I love that you guys are talking in chat, asking questions, etc., etc. We just haven't gotten there yet. So I'm not going to answer any of those questions until we get past the information that I'm putting out. All right. He exists. Absolutely. And I'm going to show you everything you need to know. Thomas Karras, good to see you, my friend. This is our hero. He received his box today, a Foxy box, and he loves it. So thank you. Thank you for being here. This is another case similar to Madeline Soto. Hispanic community demands attention for this little girl. All right. Janet Rollins, good to see you. Angel, good to see you. And everybody else, if you don't have a membership, you may want to get one today. All right. All right. Let's get going on this. There's a big story today.
Dylan.
Well, Brian, Stephanie, the victim is 12-year-old Jacqueline Torres. Jacqueline's father confirmed that for us this morning. Her nickname was Mimi. And Jacqueline's friends, family, people in this New Britain neighborhood paying their respects right now, leaving balloons and candles and notes. At the same time, they want answers and accountability.
Right.
The memorial for Jacqueline Torres continues to grow. Edwin and Liza.
Now, guys, does this remind you of several of the other cases we've been covering where remains are found in an abandoned house? Somebody was assaulting them there and then they dumped their body. This reminds me of lots of things. Shy Turtle, just sad kids can't trust their own. Yeah, this is a huge problem and we need to step in and help. We need better laws, better communication with the school systems, better Amber Alerts in place, better missing reports. This little girl wasn't missing. She wasn't reported missing, but nobody had seen her after her or before her 12th birthday in January. Guys, January 29th, 2025. That's a long time ago. That's a long time.
Or lighting a pink candle in her honor.
It's heartbreaking. It's a little girl. Like, she didn't deserve that. You know, it hit close to home.
Police are investigating, but patience is limited. The neighborhood wondering, how did a 12-year-old girl end up in a container behind an abandoned home? Multiple members of Jacqueline's family, including her own father, tell Channel 3 that.
Now, there's her father that didn't even know she was missing and had been calling her mother that had sole custody and didn't get back to her. Now, for the life of me, I can't understand why he didn't call law enforcement. Maybe he did. Maybe law enforcement just said, hey, she has sole custody. She doesn't need to answer you. I don't know. But we're going to listen to the press conference, guys. And I assure you, if any questions didn't get answered during the time I'm presenting it, the press conference will answer those for you. Rosie, thank you so much. Or Rose Rahali. And there's 111. Please say a prayer for this little forever 12 little girl, Mimi Torres. All right. Nobody cared. And now they do. And that's what sucks. It's too late.
Hadn't seen or spoken to Jacqueline for months. Her father, Victor Torres, says he didn't have custody of his daughter and he couldn't get a hold of her since at least January. Jacqueline's family is confident she was killed and her body dumped in a large container, a victim of shocking violence. They just don't know when. Police will need to confirm everything.
Now, you guys know how I take this personal. I take this very personal right here. I see this little girl and I can't get her out of my head this whole weekend. Just seeing her and then seeing that the Hispanic community is asking for help. I have a little girl that's going to be 11 years old this month, and she's growing just as beautiful as she is. If, of course, she's the most beautiful girl on the planet, my daughter. And this little girl is somebody else's daughter, somebody else's angel. I take this very, very personal. All right. If you know my daughter and you've seen her, then you know what I'm talking about. All right.
But investigators haven't revealed much yet.
Why take her life away like that and then throw her away like you're garbage, you're not worth a dime? No, you don't do that to a human being.
The medical examiner's office says Jacqueline's autopsy results are pending further studies. Additional lab tests may be needed, prolonging an official cause of Jacqueline's death.
We shed tears at work last night, so we have to come out and show our respect for this family that's hurting.
Beautiful child, and just taken away just like that. Justice has to pay. They have to pay for what they did. This is a crime that it's going to be here, and everybody's going to remember this.
Now, police also say they're working with other law enforcement agencies around central Connecticut. So it's possible, Brian and Stephanie, this investigation extends outside of New Britain. We also know there will be a vigil for Jacqueline.
All right, and that's beautiful back there, them coming together again, another similar case that keeps happening over and over again. And we're going to get into the vigil stuff and everything like that. And this case just started unfolding last week. So I'm so glad that when I hopped on here to present this to you today, that they were doing a press conference and giving us more information. The problem with the press conference that they gave, guys, they didn't put her name in it. And I was looking everywhere for her name. And all it said was that there was a little girl, and they described her, but there's no way that you guys would have seen the press conference if I wouldn't have showed it to you, because her name wasn't included. So let me just give you a little more information. And I see people talking about the mom's boyfriend, and is he even real? Of course he is. Now listen, more info. This was yesterday, 3:20 p.m. about 12-year-old. They say the 12-year-old whose body was found. I need to have her name. The press conference doesn't have her name in the title, so nobody's going to find it. Now, yesterday, more info, Abby Blabby, about 12-year-old's body who was found in a bin at an abandoned building. Mimi's father, Victor Torres, states he hadn't seen her since before her birthday, which was January 29th. February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October. 9 months, guys, almost 9 months. He believes she went missing sometime around her birthday in January. Other family members stated they never reported her missing because the mother had completely disconnected from the family and they had no idea she was gone. All right. Reports also coming forward that the alleged accomplice in Mimi's taking of her life and disposal has ended his own life. Are we on the same page now, guys? The second person is the mom's boyfriend, and he ended his own life while the investigation is unfolding. Foxy, thank you so much for the 420 gifted membership. If somebody received that, please thank Foxy. Clar, they do not have a cause of death as of yet. They're still working on it. However, I didn't get a chance to watch the press conference yet. So after I lay out some of the details, we're going to listen to the press conference and hopefully they'll be able to fill in the blanks. Thank you for the $4.99. All right. Abandoned building. I'm sure a lot of people were going in and out. Homeless squatters, taggers, teens, like no one said anything. Shake my head. Mama Lost, Rhonda, hello. You got the gifted membership. I think we know who did it. Right. Listen, isn't that, well, first of all, there's no coincidences in true crime. And if there is a coincidence, I'll only give you one. Second coincidence is called evidence. All right. Now let's take a look at this. This is what I wanted to show you. There's that beautiful little girl, Jacqueline Torres. Please remember her name. Now listen, there she is. Several pictures of her beautiful little angel. May she rest in peace. And the number 2 suspect, there's her mother. There's her potato mother being arrested allegedly. And there's the big boss. He calls himself the big boss. He was under suspicion of also being the accomplice in taking her life, and he took his own life. And that's the number one question of the day. How could no one report her missing? All right, so no more rumors. Big boss, the boyfriend, took his own life while under investigation. I have his Facebook if I have time to get into that. All right. Now, Leon D posts, my heart's broken. She was just a kid, bro. We failed you. I will never forgive myself. Can't even control my emotions. The system failed you. A piece of me you will take forever, princess. So many words unspoken, so many emotions. I love you. I love you. I love you. My effing twin son. I don't know why did that come in there and who that is, but Leon D, we'll get to that. This is one of the family members posting, a lot of family members involved. All right. And then there's some of the vigil out there that says forever 12. All right. Yeah. What a coward. Exactly. He thinks they could take this. Nope. Yep. And I have a feeling, guys, that he was abusing her. I have a feeling they were both abusing her. And he was the number one person abusing. Mom was letting it happen. And there you go. Her life is gone because of that. All right. So let's find out what happened. Let's dig a little deeper into this. I'm going to pull this down for you. I just wanted to make sure we're all on the same page as we roll out. Come on in. Buckle up. Hit that like button, guys. All right. It was 9 months. She was found in a container by an abandoned house. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You got that right. All right. Let me remove this. And we're going to pull up the next thing. Exclusive video. We're going to get into this next so I can truck right along with you guys, right? And try to answer questions as we're going. All right, and then I'm going to show you the actual video and give you a good idea of what the heck went down. All right. Video shows mother of 12-year-old girl whose remains were found in New Britain taken into custody. I'll show you that next. And then we've got a nice playlist here of all the things going on. Now, today's October 13th. This was published 3 days ago. New Britain, Connecticut. Exclusive video. Channel 3 shows the mother of 12 being taken into custody Wednesday night, just hours after police discovered the girl's remains outside of the abandoned house. And I have a full 10-minute video of all of it. I'll show you after we get through this. All right, I'll listen. In the footage, voices can be heard saying, "Where's the girl?" She was taken into custody just hours after police found her remains 2 blocks away on Clark Street. So her mom lived right around where the abandoned house was. So what do you guys think? All right. If my mom's here, love you, Mom. It was so good to see you this last weekend. All right. Everybody else says, hey, Mama Pearl. All right. Come on in, guys. Come on in. All right. Several towns in central Connecticut are assisting the investigation, including Farmington Police. And that's where we're going to start finding out every possible witness. I don't mean physical, a person that has knowledge of the victim or the victim's family and any background whatsoever can be a major part of this investigation. All right. And again, we're going to get into all this, all the details, but let's watch this. Let's see the mother getting arrested. This is breaking news, by the way.
Women are facing charges for the death of a 12-year-old girl. Police are searching for the third suspect right now.
Yeah, Kara, investigators just revealing several disturbing details about how and when they believe the girl died. Your reporter Owen Kingsley joins us live with the very latest. Owen.
And as I told you, how, when, what, why, and who, that's what we're going to get through today. All right? So that's what we're doing. We're getting it all. And we just started. So if you guys rolled in like right now, you didn't miss anything because we're still working on this. All right.
Well, police say this entire case has been about seeking justice for 12-year-old Jacqueline Torres in one of the most disturbing cases that this community has, frankly, ever seen. Police are telling us that they believe this girl likely died about a year ago, and before that, likely abused.
29-year-old Carla Garcia is charged with murder, child cruelty, and several other charges in the death of her own daughter, Jack.
And that's the nasty mom.
Other charges in the death of her own.
Another momster, guys.
Other charges in the death of her.
It was hard to get a picture of her because all the pictures and videos were her yelling and cussing and being just awful. They have 3 suspects, and I believe the other one of them is the monster that took his own life. All right. This case is just heartbreaking, and nobody needs this. Nobody wants this. Can you imagine Mimi Jacqueline Torres being missing for almost a year and nobody's saying anything? No, she was 12, Synth. It's not forever 11, it's forever 12. She turned 12. Everything on there says forever 12. So hashtag forever 12. All right. I got to correct you on that.
Own daughter, Jacqueline Torres. Carla's sister, Jacqueline Garcia, is also charged in this case with a risk of injury to a child and child.
Isn't that wild? Now we're also talking about the third suspect being the bigger boss, the guy that took his life. We'll find out a little more about him in a bit. I know. You guys, I would love to cover other cases as well. But for some reason, people send me all of these cases. So when you guys send me other stuff, I'll be happy to cover it. But boy, we need somebody covering these cases with the children.
Police are also looking for Carla's boyfriend, 30-year-old Jonathan.
And now we know, this just came out, but now we know that this loser, Jonathan Anita, took his own life. All right. We're catching up, or we're surpassing the news at this point by going and looking at social media and digging in.
Anita. He's also accused of murdering 12-year-old Jacqueline Torres.
Damn, dude.
Police credit an anonymous tip last Wednesday about suspicious activity at 80 Clark Street for sparking this investigation. That's where they found a plastic tote with the girl's remains in an advanced state of decomposition. Now investigators believe she likely died in the fall of last year when the family lived in Farmington. And before that, she suffered physical abuse and starvation. Her body was likely kept in the basement of their Farmington home until they moved to New Britain in March of this year.
As a mother.
And this is just breaking news, just came out. So we're going to watch the presser after we get through some other things like the arrest. There's a lot of cussing and a lot of bad things in this episode from the family. So please, always trigger warning. If you need to take care of your mental health, please do so. All right. Shy Turtle and everybody else in here. All right. No, she was forever 12, Synth. All over her memorials, it says forever 12. So I'm not sure what you mean by forever 11, but that's not for this case. All right. They write it all over the memorial, spray painted forever 12. They believe that she turned 12 and then went missing shortly after her birthday. So I don't want to put that misinformation. This is not a lot of people are covering this case. So I want to make sure that I cover it properly and don't give any misinformation. What's up, Kit Kat? Good to see you. You guys come on in, hit that like button, subscribe, and help us out with the goal. Now, I just looked, this just came out yesterday, and it says he in fact took his own life, Marissa. So if you have a document that shows that he's still alive, let me know.
This makes me sick to my stomach to be standing here today. I want to thank the initial caller for speaking up, for having the courage to say something. Without that initial call, no one can say for certain where we would be at this point in time.
Now, Jacqueline Torres was homeschooled before, which officials say likely made it harder for the community to realize that.
There's so many of that, guys. It's another telltale. Just keep writing those down and checking the boxes, all right? She was homeschooled, all right? You know what that means. When someone homeschools and abuse is happening, they're just trying to cover it up, all right? You're very welcome. I don't know how to pronounce your name, but I'll call you M, all right? What's up, M? Marat? I don't want to butcher your name, so M. Yvette. How about that? All right. If something's sus, you must discuss and debunk the junk, right? All right. Let's keep going.
She had been missing. Now, both Carla and Jacqueline Garcia are due in court tomorrow in Torrington. We'll make sure to bring you that as that happens. For now, your reporter live in New Britain, I'm Owen Kingsley, Channel 3.
All right, so that's it. We're up to date on what's happening going up until tomorrow. All right, and 2 arrested. Please search for third suspect. I didn't even watch this yet. Let's see if we can get this without
the things that happen to people in a calamitous
Sorry about that,
accident
guys.
or incident like a car collision.
Do want to get back to that disturbing breaking news coming out of New Britain, where the mother and aunt of 12-year-old Jacqueline Torres have now been charged with her murder. Investigators believe the girl likely died last year, while her remains were only discovered last week. Your reporter, Owen Kingsley, has more on these absolutely disturbing details, ones that the mayor of New Britain says makes.
Yeah, I just want this to continue to roll out. As you see, she's been gone for almost a year, but I just read behind while we're watching this that the remains that were discovered and identified by the family, the medical examiner did an autopsy, and because of the state of the decomposition and the body, they cannot report an official cause and manner of death. So it's pending in further investigation, guys. Just imagine being inside of a bin, like a plastic bin, and then inside of the bin, you go inside of a metal, a tote, plastic tote inside of a metal bin, highly decomposed. All right. It's terrible. It's an epidemic. What's happening to children so sick. I agree, Mom. All right, long crime 2 minutes ago. Good. I'm glad we don't have that out yet because I'm going to put it out for you. Long crime will probably just put the same things I'm doing with the presser.
Her stick to her stomach as we learn more from city officials. Owen?
Well, it's not just the mayor, it's police, it's everyone in this community who are just hearing about this. These are incredible, disturbing details. They refer to it as just absolutely disheartening and heartbreaking in this community. 29-year-old Carla Garcia, she is accused of murdering her own daughter. Police right now still looking for a third suspect in this case. Now, as I said, 29-year-old Carla Garcia, that is the mother of Jacqueline Torres. She's charged.
And it's the mother and the aunt, guys. It's the mother, the aunt, and the boyfriend. What would have been so connected to them that this happened? I just can't understand. So this is the third person, and this third person is suspected to have taken his life. We're gonna listen to the presser that just came out soon, and then you'll see.
With murder, child cruelty, and several other charges. She was arrested last night. Her younger sister, 28-year-old Jacqueline Garcia, was also charged in this case with risk of injury to a child and child cruelty. Police are also looking for Carla's boyfriend, 30-year-old Jonathan Nanita. He's also accused of murdering 12-year-old Jacqueline Torres. Police say the investigation began last Wednesday when a plastic tote was found at 80 Clark Street with the girl's remains in an advanced state.
And you see advanced state of decomposition. You see how big the memorial and the vigil is growing. Yeah, too many people failed Mimi, and there were so many red flags in this case. Number one red flag is she was not in school and they couldn't find her. Number two, the dad hadn't talked to her for almost a year. All right, that's the second thing. And then who knows who was close to the family, and they just disappeared. Nobody asked about what happened. Nobody asked where she is. Nobody called for a welfare check. Nobody did anything.
state of decomposition. Police now believe she has been dead since the fall of last year.
And you see, she's 12 years old. I don't know if you're writing something different, Synth, but she had already turned 12, and it's forever 12. So unless you're talking about a different case, just saying. All right.
While the family was living in Farmington, police also say in their investigation she suffered prolonged starvation and physical abuse before her death. Investigators add that Jacqueline's body was likely kept in the basement of their Farmington home until they moved to New Britain in March of this year. Police still don't know why the remains were discovered outside the abandoned home on Clark Street. Jacqueline was homeschooled before, which officials say made it harder for the community to realize that she was missing.
We handle many types of crimes in our.
All right, so we're not going to watch all this because it's just clips of what's going to happen or what them discussing. We're going to watch the presser. So let's start looking into the other clips that I have, and then we'll actually, before I do the presser, I've got this young girl disappears after her 12th birthday and found months later. And it's the mom being arrested, etc. So I want you to see all that. Again, trigger warning, because there's a lot of cussing and fighting and things going on. Honeywell says, I think it should be mandatory for someone from school to check on these kids every 4 weeks. I think better yet, Honeywells, I think at least once a month they should have to go into the school, check in, look, take a look at the records, make sure they've gone to the doctors, etc. They need to have them check in once a month and make sure everything's on point with what they're doing. There should be a criteria for that. I have grandbabies her age, exactly. All right, let's take a look at this. Posted on Facebook. There's a person covering this M Keisha or something like that. There's not very many. There's MK or M Keisha investigates, and they've got this on camera, and then we'll start getting into the other things. Honestly, I can't even enjoy my dinner knowing Mimi was I'm sorry, guys. If you guys, we do true crime here every day, and it's always very triggering. So take a break or watch this and then eat after. That's what I do. I'm not hungry either when I'm watching this. I get it. All right, let's get this in the algorithm, or try to anyway. All right, let's take a look at this. There's a big backstory to this, and as it unfolds, you guys are going to hear more and more. All right, this is the mom being arrested and people cussing at her and wanting to fight her.
Is my niece. Where the is my niece?
Carla, what's the girls?
So why you were running? We've been chasing you for like 20 minutes.
People in one New Britain neighborhood looking for answers after police discover what they believe are human remains.
As for this investigation, police are being pretty tight-lipped, not offering many details, with many here wanting to know where the remains came from and just how long they've been there.
And that's what we're listening to and weighing in on and looking at, etc. All right. Yes, they absolutely need to have check-ins at the school. And when they check in, there needs to be a mandatory check-in on their health. Like you have to bring records when you go to a school. There has to be a certain time that you go in, so maybe even if it's every 6 months or once a year, but once a month, they should have to go check in at school, get their work, make sure they're physically okay, make sure they're not being starved, etc. All right, this is Connecticut, Lynn. Shout out to you guys, all of you. I know that you don't like what I'm presenting, but if you like the way I present content, please hit that like and support the channel. Coco Cutie, there was a lot of heartbreak in that woman's voice yelling. I know they were about to fight each other. All right, there's a lot of yelling and cussing. All right. All right.
Today we're going to be in New Britain, Connecticut, where a terrifying discovery was made on October 9th, 2025. 30-year-old Victor Torres and his wife.
All right, now you're going to see some of the people and the players in this game and what happened. And that was her aunt, and now her aunt's arrested. That's what I thought. They said an aunt, and I don't know of any aunts and uncles, but the family is heavily involved in this. All right, and I'm making you wait until the end to hear the presser so I can get the full story out for you.
Be informed that his 12-year-old daughter from a previous relationship may have possibly been found unalive. The last time the father spoke with his daughter was on January 29, 2025, and that day was her 12th birthday. Over the past 9 months, Victor has tried desperately to see and get in contact with his daughter. However, she was living with her mother, who had full custody, and was keeping her away from the family. 29-year-old Carla Garcia is the mother to 3, and she is also the mother to
I thought
12-year-old Jacqueline Torres. Jacqueline, who's affectionately called me.
I thought so. And anybody that's close to the case or anybody that's in the area or anybody just throw stuff in chat, feel free to also email me guiltyofcrimebyj@gmail.com. Cosmic Fraud, that was her other aunt, Victor's sister. Thank you, because I'm just getting into the details of the case and I do not know all the family members. It's almost impossible, but I know a lot of people that are local do. There's also a GoFundMe that I'll put out there, and I say donate with caution. That's all I can say about that. All right, donate with caution to any GoFundMe.
Amy is her mother's oldest child, and her younger sister also belongs to Victor. Now, Carla's behavior over the past few months has been strange, to say the least. She would normally allow her 2 daughters to go visit their father and their stepmother, but then one day she blocked out her family, moved, didn't tell anyone where she lived, and if she did run into someone, she would lie and say that her daughter was at a friend's house. It became clear in October of 2020.
And there's the mom taking selfies. I'm looking at like Facebook pages and social media behind the scenes, and all she cared about was herself, but no pictures of her daughter. I mean, where did this go wrong? Where did it go wrong? Yeah, she's her daddy's twin. Where did it go wrong? Where did it go so wrong that the dad couldn't reach his daughter for almost a year and nothing was done? Was he illegal? I don't know much about him. I have his Facebook and it doesn't say a lot. Were they scared of ICE? I know it's a Hispanic community and a lot of things going on. Yes, the aunt that got arrested, but the other aunt that you see in the visual with the sunglasses. Okay, yeah, there's a lot of aunties, family members, etc.
Why she didn't want no one to know where she lived, why she wasn't allowing her daughter to talk to anyone, and why she wasn't allowing Victor and his wife to see the kids anymore. Because 12-year-old Jacqueline was no longer with us, and no one had any idea, allegedly besides Carla's sister and our now baby daddy and the father to her son.
A New Britain neighborhood shaken and looking for answers after a container was discovered in the backyard of an abandoned home on Clark Street Wednesday. Inside, believed to be human remains.
Kind of scary to think that there was human remains right across the street.
And listen, guys, that happens often. Many cases that I'm covering over and over. It keeps happening. She's probably jealous. She was probably letting her boyfriend abuse this child. And yeah, probably a combination of abuse and jealousy. All right. A stray cat. I love you guys.
Street from where me and my kids live.
While this house has been vacant for years, neighbors tell us that folks have been squatting here.
For many months, family have grown frustrated.
She's gorgeous, by the way, guys.
Not able to see or hear from 12-year-old Jacqueline and her little sister. However, over that time, no one had thought that something sinister had taken place, and they just thought that Carla was being selfish and didn't want the kids to be around anyone. But the story appeared to be way deeper than that, and it was more than just the mother being selfish all of a sudden. Something had went terribly wrong inside the home Carla shared with her boyfriend Jonathan. Because on Wednesday,
well, here's the thing, guys. I'm sure the family cared enough and missed her, but the mom was being evasive with them. And I can attest to that. I can attest to having a large family. I've got family in Los Angeles. I got family in Colorado, New Mexico. I've got family, right? I got lots of family, lots of cousins, lots of aunts, lots of uncles, lots of second cousins. And you're not going to call the cops because your auntie decided to go to, Tijuana with her man and took the kids. You just assume, man, why is she being evasive? How come I haven't seen pictures? But not to the extent where you would think that something like that happened, something nefarious. All right. So I can understand, and I will not victim blame on anybody. Now, the father, I'm not going to victim blame, but I would say, why didn't you call somebody and do a welfare check when you couldn't get a hold of your daughter? That's just me. All right. Pepper, Jay, Crime Crew, it's good to see you. Just here into this case. Thank you. You're very welcome. Good to see you. All right. There's a lot of people that I haven't seen now that the Madeline Soto case has died down. So come on, guys.
Wednesday, October 8th, 2025, Authorities were alerted to a property on 80 Clark Street where a large container was found in the backyard of an abandoned building. What they found inside of the container was definitely disturbing, and authorities realized they located human remains. By the very next day, the medical examiner's office had identified the remains, and they would quickly contact the next of kin. This is when Victor Torres got the disturbing news that his first child had been unalived. With so many people wanting answers and so many people asking questions, Victor would take to social media and write, "Yes, police confirmed it was my child."
Yeah, this is perfect right here, guys. This is what I'm trying to get into, all the behind the scenes, what the news isn't telling you. All right. That's where they found her, in that abandoned house, inside of a plastic tote, inside of a metal bin kind of storage unit thing. And she had been gone, and they speculate for almost a year. All right. Suzanne says, "What? I'm still here." Well, don't forget to hit that like button, my friend. All right. I'll read this to you so instead myself. Now, this is Victor Torres, which I have his Facebook here, and I don't see a lot of pictures of him and his daughter. I do see some things that he posted after she went missing about Fly High and, all the love to his daughter. Also, there's a petition, guys. This petition is to give Mimi's father the building to, and I'll show you after that. The father is the key person in this that's trying to get justice for his daughter, which I wish that would have happened before. Right now, this is his Facebook, and it says, Victor Torres says, "Yes, please confirmed it was my child. Yes, they admitted to me that both Carla and Jonathan, which is her mom and her mom's boyfriend, are responsible for taking her life, and in my eyes, everyone in her circle as well. Yes, DCF granted her full custody, knowing I was a better fit parent and she never had a pot to piss on. No, they have not been arrested or charged after admitting to everything and blaming each other. Yes, DCF allowed my other daughter to speak to Carla yesterday. Yeah, just here for the news, and that's the problem with this world. Now, let me be. I'm doing everything in my power to bring my other daughter home and make sure they all pay." Bless her father, guys. All right. I'll try to show you his Facebook after this. All right, there he is. He's a key person in this to try to get justice for his daughter now and get his other daughter back.
A ton of bricks, and it left the family devastated by what had taken place. According to close loved ones, Carla and Jonathan both had been taken down to the police station, and both were pointing the finger at each other. But even after the questioning, there was still no arrest, and rightfully so, the family became even more frustrated. Victor would also state on social media, "The fact that they are allowing her to visit the rest of the kids is sickening. Someone help me do something about this." Family would speak to the news and put a name to the remains that were found in the container because they wanted everyone to know that Mimi was loved and she was cared for, but somehow, someway, something tragic took place in her mother's care.
The victim is 12-year-old Jacqueline Torres. Her father confirmed that to Channel 3 this morning. And Jacqueline's father told us today that he hadn't seen or spoken to his daughter since at least January 29th, which was Jacqueline's 12th birthday. So her father fears that Jacqueline may have been potentially for several months. Now, of course, police will have to confirm that.
In the midst of everything unfolding, one of Jacqueline's loved ones was at the scene when they took Carla in for questioning, and it was obvious that she came for answers.
You running like...
All right, guys, again, trigger warning. There's a lot of cussing, yelling, justice for Mimi. Thank you. Good to see you, MM Clark. Kathleen, again, the more people here, the better to get in the algorithm. And Pepper, I did not see that, but thank you so much for the $2 super chat. Thanks for all you do, Jay, and your support at Watts the Obsession. You're welcome. Thank you for coming over here and saying hello to us and supporting the channel. What's up, my friend? Very tragic. If you're going to come to Guilty of Crime and watch a case, almost all of it's very tragic. All right, here's the arrest of her mother and some family members yelling.
You hiding something. Where the is my niece? Where the is my niece? Where the is my niece?
Carla, where's the girls?
Out here, you deadbeat ass.
Yo!
You. What?
Don't touch anything.
Hang out here, hang out here. Sorry. That's my phone, I think. Oh, no. Get her out the car. She was running. So why you were running? We've been chasing you for like 20 minutes. We've been chasing you for like 20 minutes.
See, this is serious. I mean, you got no movement at all. This little girl, Mimi, is missing for a year, and then you see this. And yeah, I wish it was just a sad story, Selena, but unfortunately, it happened all last week. And even before that, nobody knew she was missing.
No one in their wildest dreams would have ever thought that something like this would have taken place because her father and her stepmother would have did everything in their power to get custody. As Victor stated, he was the better fit parent and tried to prove that before to the courts. However, they sided with the mom, and it turned out to be a fatal decision. Victor not only is a business owner, but his wife is a business owner, and they live a good life.
And here's the problem sometimes, guys. It's a huge problem because the way that this system works many times, and it shouldn't anymore, it's outdated. Judges, courts will give a little girl to the mother. Doesn't matter if the mom is a piece of trash and the dad's a business owner, because it's a female and another female. It's happened since the beginning of time that children usually get placed with their mom, as long as they're not showing that their address is a cardboard box, they're going to do that. And what's up? Good to see Becca Mitchell. Can you hear me now? Says, hey, Jay, mods, and chat. Good to see you, my friend. Another terrible case. And this one, Rebecca, is nobody noticed she was missing for a year.
And from everything that I gathered, his wife adores his 2 children by Carla, and she always looked at the 2 as her own. She would also often share the kids on her social media. In one post, she wrote, "This water is thicker than any blood can ever be." And on Mother's Day of 2022, she wrote, "Today is Mother's Day, and I dedicate this day to them because they show me how to love and how to care. They opened a place in my heart I didn't know I had. I will protect and guide my angels. Thank you for showing me how to be selfless. And my moon and my star. You guys changed my life and changed me for the better. Thank you for calling me mom and holding that amazing title, Forever My Girls." So the love for Victor's children was there. And all across social media, loved ones have been sharing past memories of the 12 short years.
And I don't know how that stopped. I don't know how she just walked away, and I just don't get it. But Clark, here's the reason why they don't give their children up. The number one reason is they're not going to give up their welfare. They're not going to give up their vouchers for housing. They're not going to give up their Section 8. So they keep having children. They don't care. They use the children not only for housing and food, but they use their children as a way to bait a man in their life. They use their child as a source of income, a source of their own selfish needs. That's why they're not giving them to the fathers, because what would they gain out of it? Unbelievable, but that's how it goes. Lexi Giovanni says, Rachel, you go, girlie. You bring the police wherever you feel you need to. Be safe. All right.
Years that they had with Mimi.
I know. Yep. I'm not going to play this music because it's probably not going to be good, but I love seeing these little collages. Look at that beautiful little angel, guys. I mean, then there's the monster mom. Ugh, disgusting.
That she birthed and brought into this world. Even without the official cause of her unaliving, it is obvious foul play had taken place because she was inside of a container in an abandoned home. And a mom is not just going to let her child go missing like that and not say anything. Well, at least a mom who really cares and loves their child.
And guess what, guys? Even further, you know what I want to see happen? Even further, lock this bitch up, right? Lock her up, but also charge her with, the desecration of a body, maybe kidnapping, and let's go back and give her these big fraud charges so that she owes restitution for a really long time while she's locked up in prison, and she has to pay the state back. Every time she gets commissary, it has to go towards the money that she stole from the state for this little girl. How about that? How about we do that? We charge her with everything, because I bet you anything that she was collecting welfare and Section 8 and all the other stuff while her daughter was sitting inside of a plastic bin decomposing behind an abandoned house. What do you say? Yes? Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's take all her money away from her. Man.
Out. But it is obvious that something terrible took place and she tried to cover it up. There have been so many questions.
Yep.
Why didn't the school report anything? How long has she been missing? How long has she been unalive? As of right now, no one truly knows. Now, it's also being said by those close to the situation that Jonathan took his own life after being taken in for questioning. However, no official information has been released as of yet on that.
And guys, official information is coming slower than molasses right now. I cannot wait for the official information to come out. So I'm seeing what the community's saying, what people are saying that are coming from the community, etc. All right. Eastern Girl says, Jay, we only have one women's jail, and if they don't protect her, the women are going to eat her up. I hope so. I hope they do. They should eat her up. And literally picturing Jen Soto in my head being yelled at like this, as she should be.
But if he did, then that speaks volumes and it shows guilt big time. Jacqueline was said to be so smart, talented, and funny, and with a big personality. And she lit up every room she walked in.
Of course she did.
Everyone should be completely outraged at what has taken place, and I hope that justice is served sooner than later. There's no way a 12-year-old child should be stuffed inside a container and left at an abandoned home like she meant nothing. Her life mattered, and she should still be here. She had family who loved her and cared for her, and she had a dad and stepmom who would have loved to have her with them full time.
Absolutely.
However, the family court system didn't allow that to happen, and now we have a 12-year-old girl who's
And again, guys, the family court system didn't allow that to happen. You ask about Jennifer Soto for a year and a half. We asked about Jen Soto. Why did she keep Madeline? Why didn't the courts go over and let Tyler? Number one, because he's a man. Number two, he had a record. We saw that. And number three, money talks, guys, and bullshit walks. Money talks, whether you're on YouTube, whether you're you're not on YouTube, whether you're on any kind of anything, money talks. And in my opinion, that's what happened in this case.
forever gone, and that shouldn't be the case. If anyone has any additional information you can add to this case, you're asked to call the New
Yes.
Britain Police Detective Division at 860-826-3131. I don't know how her mom could live with herself and go to sleep at night knowing that her
Trash.
child was not at the home. This is a very tragic and sad story, and I hate that it ever had to happen. My thoughts and prayers truly go out to this family, and I pray that Victor and his wife are able to get justice and also get custody of his other daughter, who truly needs to be in a home where she is loved. There is no telling what she went through, what she knew, and that is just too much for any young child to have to go through. It truly makes my blood boil of what took place, and I really, really hurt for this family. Please let me know your thoughts. Also, don't forget to comment your prayers for this family in this difficult time and hit that like button and share to make your people.
Right. And guys, that's Facebook. My key. Let me just look at it so you guys can. If you're Facebook people, then it's a Facebook thing here, and it's M Keisha Investigates. All right. So if you guys follow that kind of stuff on Facebook, go to M Keisha Investigates. And Melissa, you're calling me right now. So your number's coming up while I'm streaming, sweetheart. I can't talk when I'm streaming. Okay, let's keep going, guys, because we found out a little bit about the case. We don't know everything, but the press conference right now is going to give you guys a good idea of everything else that they know and that's happening. So you guys all want to know this stuff? Let's talk about this stuff. I do want to show you the community gathering, but I want to get through this, and we're at 59 minutes. So yes, Remy girl, the mom is sick. The boyfriend is disgusting, in my opinion, as well. All right, so let's take this off. I do want to show you real quick. Let me show you the dad just real quick. Let me show you the dad just so you guys can see the support. If you want to support him, okay. So Victor Torres, that's the dad, and it looks now like he's posting a lot of things about his daughter missing, etc. All right, so there's Victor Torres, that's her biological dad, And there's a petition that needs your help. So we should definitely help with that petition as well. Let me drop this in chat for you. Hold on. There's a petition. I don't know why it's so long, guys. It literally went into 2 different pages. Hold on. I'll show you that in a second. Let me just go through this. All right. So anyway, he's Victor Torres on Facebook. That's her father. And he's posting about needing change. And I don't know exactly what it was yet, but you can see here that most of his posts recently are picture of his daughter, updating it, and should have took more pictures when I had a chance. I don't know this man, but I've heard every word he's spoken. His energy's he's on here, and most of it is about his daughter. Obviously, Fly High Princess. He's got some videos here that I haven't watched, obviously. A lot of it's about his daughter up until recently, and he's Puerto Rican, another Puerto Rican case, Hispanic. All right, so let me stop that and also share the petition, guys, real quick. This is give Mimi's father this building to honor her memory. I don't know why they want that building, but we'll look into it right now. Let's see why they want that building. All right. There is the petition. It's really too long to put in chat, but they got 3,000 signatures. Give her father the building to honor her memory. And the issue with this is they're saying is she was found in a bin behind an abandoned home. Her life was stolen. Her body was left where no child should be. The spot has become a wound in the community, a reminder of violence, loss, and how fragile life could be. But Mimi's father, Victor Torres, wants to reclaim that ground. He isn't asking for pity or profit. He's asking for the chance to turn pain into peace, to transform that site into a memorial for his daughter and everything that his family faced. Again, this is kind of like the Madeline Soto fight for the memorial and the community on Hickory Tree. And we know that lost. So you guys go sign it. There's 3,000 signatures, but still maybe it gives him a little bit of hope and the chance. All right. I'm not really sure how that will work. But that's what he's asking for. All right, now let's listen to what law enforcement in this presser finally has to say about what's come to this. Again, mother, aunt arrested in death of 12-year-old whose remains were discovered. You guys wouldn't even know. I had to dig in and see Carla and Jacqueline Garcia have been arrested. The death of Carla's daughter, Jacqueline Torres. I couldn't even really find what this was or who it was about. Okay, so now that you guys have seen all the shit behind the scenes, all the messed up things happening, now we're going to hear what law enforcement has to say just hours ago today about this case and where it's headed, who's involved, and what they know. All right. Rebecca says judges need to make examples out of these monsters who unalive kids. Harsher punishments may need deter others from abusing, unaliving. I agree. They need to, and prayers to you. Avang Cesar Cruz says she was my cousin. Well, big prayers, big hugs to you, and prayers for you and your community. If you do want to reach out to me and talk about anything or use my platform as your platform for whatever, whether it's for the GoFundMe, for the petition, reach out to me. All right. You can reach out to me, send me cases at gmail.com or guiltyofcrimebyj@gmail.com. All right. We're here for you and your family. So prayers for you. Check my notification. Another little girl. Yeah. It never stops, guys. They usually tear down or condemn these sites, find a happy place. And we're going to check out the memorial as well, because I don't want to leave that. I don't want to forget that portion of it, or the GoFundMe. I'll drop the GoFundMe and link as well, guys. But let's start with this, and I'll drop links in chat while we're going. Don't forget, guys, we're halfway to our goal today. If you guys have the means to get a membership, gift a membership, or help with the goal, please do. And yeah, mad prayers for you, Cesar Cruz. All right, now let's hear what law enforcement knows now. All right.
Start by thanking all of you for joining us here today. I want to start
this press conference by offering my condolences to those dealing with all of the emotions and frustrations around and surrounding these absolutely terrible circumstances. Our prayers and our thoughts go to the family. From the beginning, every agency that was involved in this investigation has been in constant communication with one another and worked tirelessly towards one common goal. And I can say that now, our goal has always been to seek justice for Jacqueline Torres. I want to thank the men and women that are standing behind me who have been working around the clock to get us to this point. There have been a very concerning amount of rumors and mistruths that have been posted all over social media, and our goal today is to provide you with as many of the facts as we can. On a personal note, all
right, that's our goal always on this show, is to provide you with as many facts as we can, right? We could speculate a little, go outside the box and think about things, but really evidence is king. Evidence is the king, right, to everything. I just can't go by the street my son was found on because it's so too emotional. Blessings, prayers to you, Bree, and whatever you have to do. Everybody's sending you guys love and prayers to your family. Evang, Cesar Cruz, and also, guys, I shared that GoFundMe from the family. All right. Hopefully I could do another episode and dive in a little more to the people and the things. But right now, let's stick to these facts based on today's conference.
A mother, this makes me sick to my stomach to be standing here today with what we're about to tell you. On Wednesday, October 8th, when a report of suspicious activity at 80 Clark Street in New Britain came in from an anonymous caller requesting police, responding officers had no idea what they would be walking into. This caller reported suspicious activity at a known abandoned house in their neighborhood. This house had been vacant for over 2 years, and it was owned and is owned by an out-of-state landlord from.
Now, remember, today's October 13th. They found her body on October 8th. All right. 5 days ago, this case has been unfolding. 3 arrests should have been made. 2 arrests have been made, and 1 allegedly took his life. Now, Evang, if you know about that, do you know if the boyfriend did actually take his life? The one that was supposed to be arrested? Let us know in chat if you do know about that. All right. I'm going to give some memberships, guys. So if you guys can make sure that you hit the like button, drop a comment, make sure your gifting notifications are on. All right. You said he did not. If he did not take his life, or he tried to and he's in the hospital, then I hope they come after him. We're going to listen to right now. They're going to tell us that he's on the run. All right. They'll tell us. And Zulik, thank you for saying that. We'll find out right now. Just curious if somebody else knows and why that rumor is spreading. Hold on, sorry.
None of those determined to be involved with this case have ever resided at this property. I want to thank the initial caller for speaking up, for having the courage to say something. Without that initial call,
we'll find out.
No one can say for certain where we would be at this point in time. I want to welcome to the podium the Farmington Town Council Chair, Joe Capodefaro, to offer a few words.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Joe Capodefaro, the Town Council Chair of Farmington. I can't really add too much more to what the mayor just said, but first, I want to offer my condolences to everybody that's been affected in this tragedy. This type of investigation not only has affected the community, but also all that have worked in this investigation, bringing justice for Jacqueline. I want to thank the members of the Farmington Police Department, the Brighton Police Department, Connecticut State Police, the State's Attorney's Offices of New Britain and Litchfield, and the Chief of Medical Examiner's Office. And I'll turn it back over to
you are.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you for your partnership and all the cooperation with the town of Farmington. This time, I'd like to invite to the podium the Chief of Police of the City of New Britain, Matthew Marino.
Thank you, Mayor. First, on behalf of all the men and women here from the New Britain Police Department and the Farmington Police Department, I'd like to echo the mayor's initial remarks and offer our sincerest condolences to those impacted by this tragedy. There are no words that can make sense of a situation like this. Since October 8th, it has been the goal of every law enforcement agency involved to seek justice. While the limited information provided until today undoubtedly resulted in increased frustration across our communities, the purpose was to avoid any potential damage to the integrity of this investigation. To suggest any other explanation is an unfair judgment on the people you see standing behind me. This was not easy for anyone, and we should all take the time to recognize that their efforts are what brought us to this point, less than a week later.
Yeah, that was fast, you guys. I mean, Madeline Soto case was fast as well. Once they realized that Stefan and Jen seemed nervous and out of sorts and they weren't right, investigation began and they started pulling the videos, etc. Now this one's a bit different because they wouldn't have known. They went there saying there was some kind of disturbance at an abandoned house and they probably thought it was squatters. Now I don't see much luck coming with the petition to give him the house, only because there's a huge safety risk in keeping that place going and keeping a memorial. And I only know that because of the whole Madeline Soto debacle with the memorial and wanting to keep it and not wanting it. There's owners, there's property owners that own that abandoned building. And I don't think that they're going to do that. I hope that they do give him something, a place to hold a vigil that's proper. However,
now I'd like to give everyone a bit of a timeline. After responding officers made their initial discovery, the property of 80 Clark Street was established as a crime scene. Based on discussions with the New Britain State's Attorney's Office, the Connecticut State Police Central District Major Crimes Unit was requested to assist with processing the scene. At that time, the remains discovered inside the plastic storage bin were in an advanced state of decomposition. As a result, arrangements were made with the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner for assistance. Members of our detective division continued to piece together what limited information was available to better determine a timeline and possible sequence of events leading up to our initial response. Through a cooperative and intensive investigation involving our department, the Farmington Police Department, Connecticut State Police, the Office of the State's Attorney for the Judicial Districts of Litchfield and New Britain, and the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner, the child we found was positively identified as 12-year-old Jacqueline Torres. Now, while our efforts continued, we were made aware of and monitored several pieces of information circling different social media outlets, and I'd like to dispel some of those rumors.
all right, this is awesome. We love that, right? We love hearing the facts, which I'm so grateful that this came out right before I started. Number one, we like the facts. He's going to dispel the rumors, or like we call it, debunk the junk. Now, I am looking at the Facebook, and we'll look at the after of this piece of trash monster. And he posted on September 29th, and people are going wild on that post about the comments saying that he tried to self-delete quick, and then they show a missing poster that shows that he's on the run. So hopefully we figure that out today. All right, let's keep going.
At no point during the course of this investigation was anyone arrested then released. Several individuals were brought in for interviews at different times over the last 5 days, but no official arrests were made until last night. At no point were requests for information being ignored. The limited information provided since last Wednesday came after careful consideration and much conversation with every agency involved, with the sole purpose of seeking justice for Jacqueline by not compromising any part of this investigation. Any notifications that were made carefully by law enforcement officers in accordance with state guidelines and not done in any way that could create doubt or conflict regarding procedure being followed. And now at this time, I'd like to turn the podium over to Chief Paul Melanson of the Farmington Police Department, who has additional information.
All right, here's the next one, guys. And thank you guys for being here. There's 180 people in chat. I do wish that there were more people, but let's try to get this in the algorithm so that people can see this episode and be aware. All right, I just gifted a membership. I hope somebody got one that needed it. If anybody else is out there that wants to get a membership for themselves or gift one for somebody to help contribute to the goal. We're only 4 away, guys. All right? Okay, let's go.
Thank you. Investigators from the Farmington Police Department, with the assistance from the New Britain Police Department, have determined that Jacqueline likely died in the fall of 2024 while her family was still residing in Farmington. Evidence indicates that Jacqueline was the victim of prolonged physical abuse and malnourishment prior to her death. It is also believed that following her death, Jacqueline's body was kept in the family's basement and subsequently moved when the family relocated.
So this is disturbing, disgusting, and even more morbid than what I originally had thought. Nobody had talked about that before. We saw a clip that alleged that they kept her body and then moved with it. So now we know why she was missing and how she could have been missing for as long as she has. All right. So they were abusing her, guys, and I'm gonna go on a limb to say they were physically. I'm gonna go on a limb to say the sexual part, and even as far as starving her. Okay, so on top of that, it's also rumored that she was dismembered, Let's listen to see if that's the case. And welcome, peace, love, and light. Caritas Deos, prayers for justice, Eastern, crafting. Yes, a year, almost a year. They put her body down in that basement, kept it, and then they moved. And then when they moved, they dumped her in the back of an abandoned house. Yes, Nurse 97. Yes, straight to hell for these people.
From Farmington in March of 2025. As a result of our investigation, 2 individuals have been taken into custody in connection with Jacqueline's death. Jacqueline's mother, Carla Garcia, was located last night by members of the Farmington and New Britain Police Departments and arrested on the strength of an arrest warrant charging her with Connecticut General Statute 53A-54B, which is murder with special circumstances, along with several other additional charges. Carla's sister, Jacqueline Garcia, was also arrested and charged with Connecticut General Statute 53-20, cruelty to persons under 19 years of age, along with other related charges. Jonathan Nanita, Carla's boyfriend, has an active arrest warrant.
Okay, so there it is, guys. We're now getting to the monster's boyfriend that says he has an active arrest warrant, which means he must still be alive. It sounds like they're creating a false narrative to let him run, and who knows where he's going to run to? Is he Mexican? He's going to go to Mexico. Is he Puerto Rican? Now, if he goes to Puerto Rico, it's still in the same country and not too hard. Is this the one with the tote? Yes, Sarah Hewlett. She was in the back in a tote inside of a bin. And I just saw this story on LNC, and glad you're all discussing it. LNC. Oh, long crime. Okay, that just came out. There was no information about that until today, right? None of it. It was all just speculation and news articles.
Which is also charging him with 53A, 54B murder with special circumstances, amongst other charges. Additionally, the New Britain Police Department also has obtained an arrest warrant charging Jonathan with 53A 155 tampering with physical evidence for actions taken leading up to the initial police response to 80 Clark Street and the subsequent discovery in the rear yard. A complete list of charges for each of the individuals will be made available at the end of the remarks. But out of respect for all those affected and to ensure the integrity, like Chief Marino had said, of the ongoing investigation, we will not be releasing further details at this time. This case is a deeply heartbreaking and disturbing case. Our detectives, with our local and state partners, have worked tirelessly to uncover the truth and to bring justice for Jacqueline.
Now, remember, guys, this is unfolded in the last 5 days. However, Jacqueline was seen on her 12th birthday, January 29th. All right, that was at the beginning, January 29th, 2024. It had to be the beginning, right, of 2025, not 2024, which would have been the year before. Am I right? Anyway, her birthday is January 29th. That's the last time they saw her, was in January. So that's the beginning of the new year. All right. So I'm not sure if he said 2024. I don't think so. We're building the timeline right now.
No child should ever have to endure such suffering. On behalf of the New Britain and Farmington Police Departments, we extend our deepest condolences to all who have been affected by this tragedy.
Thank you, Chief. Today is about providing the facts that we have available from here. The court system will take it and prosecute to the highest extent of the law.
Thank you.
I'd like to again send our deepest condolences to the family and friends of Jacqueline Torres, and I would like to open it up for questions now.
Can you tell us the bonds on the individuals?
$5 million.
For 2 already, and
So Carla Garcia is a $5 million bond. Jacqueline Garcia is a $1 million bond. And we have yet to pick up, and we are asking for the public's assistance
in
locating Jonathan. And he does have a $5 million bond on his also.
You guys, for those of you that are local, I see you coming in. They're looking for him. I think they created a false narrative. He might have created that for himself. Now, we don't understand that either, Cruiser Girl, how no one looked for her. But the thing is you understand a little better when you start to realize that mom had sole custody. Dad got to visit his daughter when she allowed it. But after her birthday last year, the mother disappeared. She moved away from the family. She moved away from the dad, and nobody knew where they were. All right. Remember, they moved homes, and when they did that, they put Jacqueline in the basement. They stored her in a basement. I'm gonna assume if they stored her in the basement, guys, that she was probably in a freezer or some kind of refrigerator. Then they moved her remains to a different house that they moved to, and they realized that they needed to move her remains elsewhere. And that's where I believe she ended up, in the backyard of an abandoned home, in a tote, and then ultimately in a large pod container. All right. Jay, you're very good at reporting all these cases. Let's remember to have a break to do something. I remember to have breaks, Chumba. I do my best to have breaks, my friend.
Are they both expected in court tomorrow?
Yes.
Chief, can you talk anything about motive, anything along those lines at all? What happened here?
Yeah. Go ahead. I think much like Chief Melanson had said, it's important at this point to leave out some of those major details involved in this case in order to allow for the entire investigation to play itself out.
Had there been any reports that she'd been missing? Had anybody raised concern?
All right, let's listen up here because this is where people don't understand. And yeah, last week, Chumba, I haven't seen you for a little while. Last week, we found that, and the week before, baby Miracle was found healthy, and people want to adopt her. A lot of people want to adopt her. So we take breaks as we can. I get breaks on the weekends, but Chumba, I'm up for it. I'm up for it unless I'm not, and then I'll tell you guys. But hey, I'm well rested today after this weekend, and I'm ready to go. This case has been weighing on me all weekend long, and me wanting to get this out to you guys. So prayers.
School district or anybody where she'd been for months?
I know.
Can you share anything about the history of any of the people involved as far as the criminal history or any prior interactions with law enforcement?
Yeah, we don't have many details at this time. I know that there are reports that have been circling involving some of their criminal histories. We do have limited involvement with each of the people that are involved. Some of it dates back a couple years, some more recent. I can tell you that the most recent interaction we have was a simple motor vehicle stop that resulted in an infraction, but there was not much more than that.
Can you tell us if DCF, do you know if DCF was called prior to any of this? Do they have a case with them? I know you can't give details, but was DCF, did they have a case prior?
DCF.
DCF was involved.
Oh, prior to this going on, they had involvement with the family.
Yes.
Is there a second child involved in it? Probably because certainly we talk about this.
She doesn't want to. So there is a second child that he's trying to get custody of now. This was not something that they took away from this father. They didn't say, hey, you don't get custody of her because you're a bad man. What happened in this case was that they split up and the mother got sole custody and the father was able to visit when the mom let him, and then she disappeared. So I think that DCF had a role in this and they didn't do very well. The education system had a role in this. They didn't do well because she was homeschooled and she hadn't been there for quite some time. So this was a case, in my opinion, of parental alienation. And the dad's a good dad, owned his own business, successful, had other children. And the judge decided to give Jacqueline to the mom sole custody. All right. We don't know why DCF was in touch, but I assume that they were in touch initially only after the little girl Jacqueline had been missing for months. All right. They're not going to tell us exactly what role DCF played, but I'm assuming after a while when family and her father couldn't get a hold of her, that they reached out to DCF. All right. That's what I'm going to assume, just based on common sense. We don't quite know.
As far as this investigation is concerned, there's no other reports involving any of the other children that are involved.
Are any other children safe, from this family?
Yeah, during our investigation, contact was made and all the other children were determined to be safe.
Good.
One of the chiefs talk about the toll this takes on men and
Hey.
women dealing with this kind of a case.
Good to
What is
see you.
So, I mean, obviously, we handle many types of crimes in our line of work. The ones with kids are probably the most difficult. And obviously, the people standing behind me have been working since this call came in nonstop, 24/7.
5 days ago.
Takes a toll mentally, physically, and it's very difficult for us to contemplate how this can happen in a civilized society like ours. So 35 years, this is probably one of the worst cases that we've had to, I think the facts that you have, that she probably died a long time ago and was stowed away is probably enough to show you what we are dealing with here. So yes, very, very difficult on everybody handling these cases.
Has the report come back from the medical examiner's office in terms of cause?
Medical examiner.
No, so we currently have just a verbal right now, but obviously any official report will wait for toxicology results and other sorts of things. So we won't have any reports from the medical examiner for a short period of time other than their verbal report to the detectives. And I won't get too far into it. We have sealed the warrants.
But remember, the verbal was they couldn't find an actual cause of death due to decomposition and the time and probably the elements of the weather. Shy Turtle says it's worth bringing up at 2 a.m. Thank you, Jay. What's up, Tara? Good to see you and everybody else that's rolling in right now. Appreciate you guys. Oh, this case needs so much coverage, guys.
Because we are asking anybody who has any other information. People have called since this has been publicized. And we're really asking for anybody else who has any information to come forward and contact either the New Britain or Farmington Police Department, whoever you're comfortable contacting. We are working hand in hand, and everybody had said it. You know, our goal from the start of this was to bring justice for whoever murdered Jacqueline.
Yep.
And that's what we think that we have started to do last night by taking 2 into custody. But this doesn't end here, right? Like any investigation like this, this will go on and on for the days, months, and actually years to come. So we will still continue to look up any lead that we can. But we really do need anybody who has any information about this to please contact one of the police departments, which is why we do not want to release too many details.
Many information, yeah.
Because we are looking for people to come forward who have some firsthand information on it.
I didn't look at the time, and do we know exactly when the girl got to this event location or?
Yeah, and that's a problem, guys, is they don't really know because she had been missing so long. So let's see what they talk about here. This is crazy. Again, you guys, happy Monday. I know everybody's kind of just rolling in from coming from wherever. This case is just, I think it's going to get a lot bigger. And I'm just trying to wrap my mind around how they had 3 or how they have 3 suspects. Why would 3 separate adults do this to that child? I can't even imagine having one person, a mother, and then you add a second person that is the mother's boyfriend. Then I can see the puzzle coming together because we cover cases like this all the time. But then you add the third person in, which is the aunt. What role did she play in this? Why did they do it? It just doesn't make sense. It never makes sense why a parent does that, but having 3 people involved, what is it? What's happening? What happened? And why?
No, not specifically. We do have, like the mayor touched on, the initial caller that called in. Those are circumstances and details that are part of the overall investigation. Again, we thank that caller for coming forward. It took a lot of courage to do that based on what we've learned since our initial response. But like Chief Melanson has said, a lot of those finer details are going to remain with the case while the court process plays itself out.
Are you able to clarify who
I know,
allegedly
right?
killed her and who then allegedly moved the body then to New Britain?
Look at them. They're looking to each other.
So if you look at the charges, you will see that both Carla and Jonathan were both charged with murder and conspiracy to commit murder. So I think that speaks for itself.
Maybe you could do this. I know you said Jonathan Bonita, can we have that spelled out since we want to
Yep.
make that call out to the public?
Yeah, and I will give you afterwards, there are some copies of a press release, which have actually the mugshots, the charges for the two who were arrested, and also the charges for Jonathan and his descriptors. But it's JONATAN, and the last name is NANITA.
So we'll clear that up. But as soon as this is over, I'm going to show you this monster that calls himself Bigga Boss. I'm going to show you his Facebook page and one of his latest posts and what people are saying so that you guys know by the end of this that he didn't take his life. And I believe it's just a ruse. So if you guys are in that area and you see this monster, call it in. Call 911. Call any number to get him arrested. All right. It reminds me of Renesmee. It reminds me of so many other cases.
Does anyone know when the last time she was?
Don't forget,
seen
guys,
or at
hit the like
school?
button. And that question said, does anyone know the last time she was at school or seen?
I'm going to be very, very careful with where we go with that. That's
Hey,
a part
Monica.
of, a large part of the investigation. There's been some information that's come forward between being removed from one school and entering another to being homeschooled. So I don't have the absolute specifics on that, but a lot of those finer details have come from the investigative steps taken by the men and women behind me and are a part of both affidavits that were presented to the state's attorney's office and the judge.
So at some point, somebody indicated they were homeschooling. Is correct.
Homeschooling.
Now, you also mentioned in March of 2025, the family moved. So the remains were moved. Where did they move to? Do we know what town?
Again, that's also a part of this large-scale investigation that we'd like to keep those details.
So just so you know, Lynn Suter that just came in and anybody else, her body was found by law enforcement because somebody called in about an abandoned house where there was suspicious activity. Now, law enforcement went to go and check out the suspicious activity and they found a giant bin, like a metal bin type of storage box. And inside that bin, they found a plastic container with the remains of Jacqueline. So I believe that who found her was law enforcement. Who called in? It was an anonymous call, which they thanked earlier in the episode. All right. So I mean, and I saw them talking about multi jurisdictions because of where she was found versus where they lived and where they moved to and took the body with. All right. You're very welcome, Lynn. And everybody else that's here today, don't forget to hit the like button and get us in the algorithm. And always homeschooled. It's always homeschooled. And then there's always an autistic trait, right? They always say that their children, these are some major red flags lately, is the whole autism, ADHD thing, and then homeschool.
The part of the affidavits. Again, touching on what Chief Melanson touched on.
It probably did.
Paying attention to the charges and the additional arrest warrant that we have for Jonathan Nanita. He was charged with tampering with evidence, which involves a large part of what you were asking.
We did say two were arrested yesterday. What was the state of the mom? Was she surprised when she found? Was she?
Both were taken into custody without incident. There were additional interviews that took place, and then they were turned over to the Farmington Police Department, and they are expected in court tomorrow.
Which court? This court here in Hartford?
Litchfield.
Litchfield.
So recently, as of October 1st, Farmington has fallen under the Litchfield Court District. So that's why we said we were working with the New Britain, obviously for what had transpired here. And previously we had been a part of the Hartford Judicial District. And now as of October 1st, we're a part of Litchfield Judicial District. So that's why we have been working with them. And they will be presented tomorrow morning, the two that we have arrested. So Litchfield.
Can you just clarify the suspicious activity that took place last week that was reported? Did that involve any of the suspects or was that something else?
So that here goes back again. This is the suspicious activity that was called in. And now I'm sure there was a smell, but you got to remember there was also squatters in that house lots of squatters happen, and they take place in these abandoned buildings, which when there's a squatter, right, they pee and poop and all that stuff, and they just throw their food and trash. So I'm sure that there was quite a smell. Royal Bitch X, my sister Ann, already been accused of child abuse of her daughter. Oh Biscuit says, stoked to catch a live. We're stoked to have you, Oh Biscuits. All right, let's keep going. I gotta show you a little bit of the community remembering her, so you guys can take a look at what happened last night with the vigil,
That
etc.
involved the behavior that was witnessed in the rear property of 80 Clark Street. Again, more of the details have come out over the course of each investigation playing out with everybody involved. But the initial reports were that someone was in the rear of the property dropping off items to include that storage bin.
Was there any sort? We know she probably had physical abuse, malnutrition. Was there any sort of mutilation or anything to the?
Now, homeschool, let's clear this up. Homeschool is not the problem. Homeschool was the problem in this case, and the excuse, as well as red flags. Nowadays, with all the parents hurting their children, they go and take their children out and they put them on homeschool so that people don't see that they're being abused, whether it's starvation or what have you. It's not homeschool that's a problem. It's the parents that put them in homeschool to cover up the crimes. And homeschool needs to be closer, more in touch with these children. If you're going to homeschool, you're going to have, and people are going to accept to be homeschooled, the teachers, the school districts, you gotta, in my opinion, make sure that you see these children once a month. Make sure there's a damn proof of life. All right. Make sure they're cared for. Make sure that they're not starving. Make sure that they're going to the doctors. Something's got to change. It's not homeschool. It's the people that put them in it, and then the people that don't check on them. That's the problem. All right. Let's just clear that up.
But the body.
Not that we're aware of, no.
Lisa, just to answer the question you had about the school, just more directly, the last known registered
Michelle.
schooling that she had was homeschool.
Thank you.
Yep. Absolutely.
Any kind of reason so far as why this property in particular was chosen to store the remains?
Abandoned.
Yep.
There's no connection. The property was no connection.
No connection to the property.
It was a known abandoned property in the neighborhood, and the property owner is a absentee landlord from New York.
So the implication here is that he was dropping off this container the other day and somebody reported it?
Any other questions?
So I almost missed that. Listen, the disturbance was somebody dropping off a container. They don't know who it was. They don't know who even called it in, but somebody was dropping off a container to the bin storage in back of the house that supposedly is not connected to any of them. Now, the problem with extended family, guys, is that they don't see these children all the time. And like I said, I have family all over the United States, this state, that state, that nobody would ever know in the extended family if one of my children went missing. They don't see them all the time, and all they do is see pictures. So it took them a while, and they realized that this mom is being evasive. So then finally, when push came to shove and she didn't produce the child, then VCF started being called, etc. All right. So let's keep going. We're almost to the vigil, and then I want to show you that the Jonathan guy is still out there.
Thank you all.
All right, good. That's over. That just came out hours ago, which thank God. You can see the mom here, the mom and the aunt that were arrested, and then look, 4 minutes ago, Law and Crime, or probably a little bit longer now, Law and Crime came out with the episode. All right, now let's take a look at what the community remembers, and then I'm going to show you this person, the monster that is still out there.
Friends and family of 12-year-old Jacqueline Torres shared memories, grief, and hope for healing, all in the remembrance of a young life taken too soon.
It's a tragic discovery that has shaken a small community to its core. Police found the
All right, guys, this was the vigil as of last night. The candles, it's growing bigger. Questions are coming, and that's why I believe presser's coming. Uncrimey joining late, starting now. Right now, they don't have a timeline. I heard them say that they moved in March. That's the last time that I heard them say they moved. So that means that she went missing sometime in January, and January, February, March, a few months later, couple months later, they moved and took the body allegedly with them. All right. Then a anonymous caller tipped in somebody bringing a bin to that house or a container to the bin, and they called it suspicious. They went and checked, found her body 5 days ago. There you have it. Now the community's remembering this little 12-year-old girl, Jacqueline. She's going to be forever. Jacqueline Torres, forever 12.
Remains of an adolescent girl behind a New Britain home on Wednesday, and family members believe it's 12-year-old Jacqueline Torres, also known as Mimi. Saturday evening, those who knew Mimi came together to honor her life with a heartfelt ceremony. People of all ages, some with tears in their eyes, approached the growing memorial on Clark Street, adding flowers, balloons, and personal messages to honor the young girl. It's a moment that brings both heartbreak and healing, a reminder of the power of love and remembrance in the face of unimaginable loss.
It's heartbreaking. You know, I've lived in New Britain all my life, and we moved to this street, and it's a safe.
I mean, look at the community that's coming together, yet nobody knew that she was missing for as long as she was. And I mean, you know, it's the parents that are responsible for the children. And then when the parents' responsibility goes out the door, then it's the responsibility of the school, the state, DCF, right? There's nothing that they can do when a parent has custody and they're in homeschool and this happens. Unfortunately, much too late. We see a community coming together after it's too late.
Street, it's quiet, so to hear something unfathomable like this, it's heartbreaking, especially to the Hispanic community, right? Especially what we're going through right now as a country. So it just wasn't needed. It's a baby. It's someone's baby.
It was a celebration of Mimi's life, the memories she left behind, and the love that still surrounds her. A final act of remembrance included a balloon release. As the balloons floated up into the sky, many in the crowd screamed with joy and happiness. At this time, details in the ongoing investigation are limited, as many cope with the loss of young Mimi. Neighbor Jamie Platt says he heard the celebration from his home and decided to join in.
Everything that they're doing back there is absolutely fantastic. I love the way they're bringing everything together and showing what they can for their community and for what had happened. This
is what the Latinos are about. They're about gathering. They're not about hate, and they're here to respect and pay their wishes for someone that's been lost. So I hope the family gets the peace that they need, especially if the justice. They deserve it. She deserves it.
As balloons filled the sky, so did the emotions of a community. This Saturday was about remembering Mimi and a promise that this young girl will never be forgotten.
All right, so this was Saturday, which is I'm so glad that they were doing this. There's a few of the clips of the celebration, which I want to show you a little bit more, just because the daytime and then this guy, the newscaster. Thank you for bringing the news, buddy, but I couldn't hear him most of the time, and maybe I should go to that news station and apply so we can get a little more passion in there. Let's listen a little bit more about the community has to say and what's happening. Lots of people come together and family, and to just for them to come together. All right. So I know there's a lot of questions, and this will be coming. God have mercy of my family. All right. Let's listen to this, and then I will show you I'll show you this piece of trash that calls himself the bigger boss that's still on the run. And I do not think that he did anything to take his own life. I think he's a huge coward.
That they have, you know, strength and peace, that they find who did it.
We began with a heartbreaking story. Tonight, a community is remembering a victim who they say was found in the backyard of an abandoned home in New Britain. Thank you so much for joining us on the Fox 61 News at 10. I'm Annette Montgomery. Now, this all started after human remains were found on Clark Street Wednesday, and now that site of tragedy has turned into a touching tribute.
I mean, look at that place. That's a big place to upkeep. That's a big place to even just have boarded up. Yeah, he calls himself Bigger Boss, and people are livid. That's why I'm going to show you the Facebook after that, because that piece of trash is trying to make himself way more than what he should be. And people are like, you're going to meet God soon. And people are outraged by these people and specifically this monster. Yeah, he calls himself that. Honestly, I don't want to point fingers, but some men, well, this guy is, they're out. There's a warrant for his arrest.
Fox 61 Stephen Reels shares the story.
Well, the New Britain police have not released the identity of the victim who was found in the backyard of this home behind me. The community out here says they know exactly who it was.
That's crazy.
And her name was Mimi. Bit by bit, this memorial to...
And like I told you, the community is much more ahead of the everything of the news, the international news. Law and crime just came out minutes ago. The presser came. The community is working hard out there, guys, for this little girl. They didn't even know who it was. They didn't know this was Jacqueline Torres, but the community knew that it was. And as a matter of fact, the family's the one that identified this little girl, Jacqueline, and she was in there for she was not alive for almost a year, guys. So imagine the poor family and what they had to go through.
Jacqueline Torres has grown in front of this lifeless house on Clark Street. Balloons, teddy bears, and candles at the site where human remains were found in the backyard. And according to Torres's family, those remains were her.
May she rest in peace.
Visitors like Maria Flores appeared throughout the day, offering their support to the Torres family.
It touched me hard because I got grandkids. I got granddaughters. I got great-granddaughters.
At this moment, with very little information to go on, members of the Torres family tell Fox 61 they're still in the dark. The latest from the state medical examiner's office just lists the remains belong to a young girl. No timeline or what led up to the victim's death have been revealed. On Friday, the Department of Children and Families shared their support for the Torres family, saying in a statement, "We are profoundly saddened by the report we received late Wednesday night."
And this is DCF, guys. We're profoundly saddened by the report. It's like they have this generated response because it's just so many times they fail. I mean, we saw Rebecca Michello in here, and that's all I could remember was DCF, and nothing happened until little Corey Michello was no longer with us. Now, Becky P, I have a clip right after this. It's going to tell you, I don't know if they're identifying, but family identifies remains. And I don't know if they want to be identified, but I will show you. I mean, this just doesn't do it for me, guys. I have whole episodes ready to go about CPS and DCF and how much of a failure that they are. All right. So that response to me, we're profoundly sad, and just sounds like some canned response. Do better. How about that? BS, man.
Our thoughts are with her family, friends, neighbors, and others who knew her, and for the pain and loss they are experiencing.
Yes, Wyatt.
Going on to say, this reinforces for all members of our community, such as professionals, family members, and concerned citizens, that protecting children takes our collective effort. And as you can imagine, this has been a very massive and hands-on investigation by the New Britain Police Department, who have said that they're already working with several other agencies, including Farmington as well. But they don't want to release much more information at this time until this whole saga is a little more concrete, because they described it as a very delicate situation. Of course, we'll keep you updated on air and online on fox61.com.
All right, let's take a look quickly, and then we'll go on to this piece of trash that says he's the bigger boss. All right, and he's on the run still. So this case is still unfolding. Family has identified a set of remains.
Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us here on Eyewitness News. I'm Caitlin Nuklo. We want to get right to that developing news. That young girl's remains were found in a container on Wednesday outside of an abandoned home on Clark Street. And that's where we find your reporter, Dylan Fearon, live. So, Dylan, what have you learned?
Well, Caitlin, the victim is 12-year-old Jacqueline Torres. Her father confirmed that to Channel 3 this morning. And Jacqueline's father told us today that he hadn't seen or spoken to his daughter since at least January 29th, which was...
All right, January 29th, 2025. So anybody that's confused, Jacqueline Torres turned 12 on January 29th. People saw her for her birthday. All right. Dad's been trying to get in contact. Mom picked up and moved. Jacqueline's in, they put her in homeschool and nobody's seen her. Reports didn't start coming until she had been gone for quite some time. Now, Sabrina, we absolutely see that DCF steals children, ignores minorities. We absolutely see that. I was working on a case like that when we were covering Madeline Soto, and boy, does DCF and CPS and all that failed the children. And yes, all of the things that you said as well, right? Be Real Tutu, like an interesting case. I haven't heard of this one. Well, buckle up, go back, rewatch, hit that like button, and share with your friends and community. Now, Long Crime did come out with the episode, and it's going to be a lot more canned than this because I put everything in here. Right? We've been covering cases, and it's been taking about 2 hours a pop to get a new case started.
It was Jacqueline's 12th birthday. So her father told us this morning that he's tried to get a hold of her, tried to speak to her, tried to see her, but hadn't since at least January. So her father fears that Jacqueline may have been dead potentially for several months. Now, of course, police will have to confirm that, but investigators are working around the clock to piece everything together to determine a timeline leading up to Wednesday's discovery. Right now, the memorial outside the abandoned home where Jacqueline's remains were found is growing. And of course, neighbors and friends are shocked right now.
Because this was a small child. You don't do that to a child that's coming into this life and learning. Who knows if he's going to be a lawyer or a president? You know, you don't know what this child had in mind. Why take her life away like that? And then throw her away like you're garbage. You're not worth a dime. No, you don't do that to a human being.
And Caitlin, some more friends and family here right now playing music. Jacqueline's nickname was Mimi. You can see written on one of the wooden boards here, R.I.P. Mimi.
I mean, again, guys, I'm pretty sure the mom used her as a means for financial gain. She used her as a means to attract this piece of garbage boyfriend that she had. She was being abused, guys, for months, is what the medical examiner reported. They said not only was her life was taken and she was put it back there and there was remains, but they also said there was abuse and starvation that they detect in that report. All right. So it wasn't just that day something happened. There was a blowout. This was accumulated over time of probably starving, beating, and a lot of different kinds of emotional and, the other kind of abuse that goes along. I'm pretty sure an examiner or during the autopsy, they can determine how long she's been gone. They probably have to do that to make a time. They did, and they have, and they've talked about it, and they realized that she was also in their basement, which leads me to believe that in their basement, they found maybe a freezer or a fridge that has some DNA on it, okay? Because they wouldn't just report on that willy-nilly at all. Breeding proves they can do J668. Okay.
Tio loves you. Her uncle loves her. Caitlin, right now we are waiting to hear back from the medical examiner's office as an autopsy on Jacqueline's remains are being conducted. We're also waiting for an update from the New Britain Police Department to see if an arrest or potentially multiple arrests in this case are made. We'll keep everybody updated on air and, of course, on the Channel 3 app. All
right. So we've been, they've been covering piece by piece, and I'm so grateful that we're able to kind of piece this together. Now, let me just quickly go. This is the piece of trash that we're looking for. All right. He doesn't have many pictures out. His name is Jonathan. It's not Jonathan, it's Jonathan. And this is the monster that is not arrested. They have the mother and the aunt that are now arrested with a $5 million bond for the mom and a $1 million bond for the aunt. Okay. And thank you. You're welcome. You guys can do me a favor and hit that like button and share, maybe on your Facebook, maybe on your X, maybe on your whatever social media accounts. Please, let's get this in the algorithm. All right. Okay. Now look, this is the guy that was suspected to have taken his own life, but now people are saying much different. If you look in his comments, if you look at the date, first March 9th, 2025 is when he updated this. Now, March 9th, guys, was around the time that these pieces of trash moved Jacqueline's body to their new house in March. And people are here saying, you're going to meet God soon. Piece of shit, couldn't even face the consequences, right? Then you come back, his name, he puts Bigga Boss. Now, he posted on September 29th, 2025, which was 2 weeks ago, he posted, and it says, "Good morning. Ion got shit positive to stay. If they play with you, crash out." Whatever that means. All right. Now people are commenting here and they're not happy. It says he self-deleted real quick. He hiding with a family member. You sick. Bigger boss, bigger loss. He's not dead. That's just to keep him safe from the public. He's in hiding. He is not dead. He's on the run. Hopefully you really did do the deed. Who's his family? Nobody should be judged but God, as he took his life. And then you got people in here putting prayers and things, and what a piece of trash. And then we see deceased, which is not true. And this is what we want to see right there. Wanted. 30-year-old Jonathan Anita, wanted for the taking life of 12-year-old girl, and I'm going to say her name, Jacqueline Mimi Torres, after her remains were found in New Britain. Now, I'm going to give you I'm going to leave him on there, and I'm going to say that since they're looking for him specifically, I heard them in the press conference talking about the charges that he's facing. And what he was facing was something like the desecration of a body. So as of right now, it looks like to me that somebody gave the description of this monster. And in the description from 5 days ago, when they called in an anonymous tip that something nefarious was happening at the abandoned house, that this monster was him that took that little girl's body. Not just the body, Mimi Torres, Jacqueline Mimi Torres took her body and placed it in a bin, and then took that bin and placed it inside of that abandoned house in a big storage bin. All right. He is not deceased. He's wanted. Speculation even got me in the beginning of this episode where people said that he had taken his life. And I believe he was diverting. It was just a diversion from law enforcement and from you people in the public that are local and not. All right. Maybe they snapped a pic of him in the car. And yes, there was a description of a person that was dumping the tote. Nobody knew that the tote had a little girl's body in it until later when law enforcement came. And then they had to have somebody identify the body because the mother of this little girl and auntie were arrested. Okay, so we don't know if she was dismembered. That's only speculation. What we do know is that she was not alive since the beginning of the year. The body was stored in their home, including his home, and then the description was given possibly that he dumped the tote and law enforcement found it. And this all happened 5 days ago. All right, so hopefully you guys are on the same page. I know this case is kind of all over the place, but you know how I do. We debunk the junk and we get to the just bottom line of the story. And the bottom line of the story is that Jacqueline Torres needs justice, and she's needed it for quite some time. So let's get this guy locked up so we can find out what happened, because I'm telling you right now, the mom and the sister are already pointing fingers at each other. So we need this third person to be arrested so they can all talk, because I guarantee you they're all going to tell on each other. We're going to find out who was abusing who. We're going to find out. We're going to kind of find out, because they're all going to lie on each other and turn on each other when it comes down to it, in my opinion. All right. So thank you guys for coming here. Thank you you could have been anywhere else, but you decided to watch my coverage today. I thank you for that. Wyatt says, yeah, true, but did you hear about the things done to little girls and boys like the Stearns? They didn't report all the things Bundy did to his. Absolutely. And they talked about that already. If you missed part of this episode, they didn't want to get down to the details, the gruesome details. No, he's not deceased. He's wanted by the law, and you can see it right there. He's on the run. That's what I'm going to go with, because law enforcement also said that, and it was only speculation. All right. Carrie says, you going to have time to cover the Hammer case soon, Chica? I'm trying, my friend. I'm trying. Which Hammer case are you referring to? Is that the one with all the craziness? I've got a lot of cases on my plate. So let me know, Carrie. If you have more details, I'll be able to cover it faster. You know how you You know how you get me details? I'll be able to do that. We do not have video at this time. However, law enforcement is not, I repeat, is not putting out, they're not putting their cards on the table. They want to get this guy arrested before they start, putting out video and then people can run, change appearances, etc. All right. So everything that I put out in this 2-hour episode is what law enforcement has provided us and what the community is saying. All right. So thank you guys for coming in. Thank you for Auntie Reed for popping in. Hit that like button, you guys. Happy Monday. Shy Turtle, always here watching. Love how you give these angels a voice and their case notice. You're very welcome. You're very welcome. Just remember, we need justice for Jacqueline Torres, who is not going to be just another little Hispanic girl that went missing that nobody cared about, because we care. They care. The family cares. The community cares. And you guys care. All right. So let's do this. I was in the email. Okay. All right, Carrie. I've been getting a ton of case suggestions and my plate is full, but I will take a look again at it. Appreciate you, Carrie. Lola says, thank you for covering this. Lynn, I live 48 minutes from New Britain. I keep keeping my doors locked. All right. Rest in peace, Mimi. You are loved. You are now our little angel, and we won't forget you. All right. We'll keep covering this until we can't cover it anymore. DCF needs a fresh look. Yeah, that's a whole, I can cover a whole week on DCF and CPS. All right, guys. So I appreciate you guys. I love you. Justice for this little angel. And other than that, you guys, let's get this in the algorithm by hitting the like, commenting, and sharing with your community. I will be back tomorrow at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 7 p.m. Eastern. All right. So hit that like button and share, and much love to all of you guys. I'll be back tomorrow. Thank you and good night.
Guilty of crime.
I want to thank you for watching. If you enjoyed my content, please share this video, like, and subscribe. You can also follow me over at Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, or Gmail. If you'd like to donate to my channel, you can use Cash App or Venmo or PayPal. Thank you very much in advance. Guilty of crime.
Are you guilty of crime?